Hey guys, welcome to my channel P48 and today's topic is career path for project managers. So in this video, I'll give you what are the career options that you can choose as a project manager and how you can navigate your career to move ahead in the path of project management. And I'm just changing the format of this video a little bit. I'm taking you guys through a presentation mode. This is the first time that I'm doing something like this. I hope this video adds some value to you. And if you like my content, please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and share this video. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. If you have any doubts related to project management, career development, resume rebranding, feel free to reach out to me so that I can help you. Okay, without wasting time, let's jump into the video. So, let's get started. In this video, I'll be taking an example of a young individual who wants to start his career in project management. And when you look at the career path or the highway for project management, I want to divide this highway into basically two lanes, right? One, I would like to call it as a PMO lane, which is a project management office lane, and then I would like to call the other lane as delivery lane. So one disclaimer or an information that I would like to share with you guys before I proceed further in this video. In this topic or in this concept today, I will not be talking anything about Agile or Scrum. So this is purely based on the roles that are there in the traditional project management world, right? In the Agile world, there are different roles, and I'll be making a separate video on that. But at this moment, I will be only focusing on project management roles. So let's begin. So, like I mentioned, there are two lanes, a PMO lane or a delivery lane. So for those who don't know what a PMO is, so PMO is essentially a project management office. So there are some organizations, right, which are well versed with the project management methodologies, and they have a very projectized environment where they have a structure built around it. And a PMO is a team or a group of individuals who help in building that structure. So they do all kinds of supporting for the project managers in terms of the documentation processes, in terms of designing the workflow, in terms of designing the templates, providing the resources, and also doing some bit of governance. And also they are also involved in providing some strategic information or strategic decisions for a project management team. So that essentially is called a project management office. Now, when you come into the delivery lane or a delivery track, so delivery is nothing but you're delivering a product or a service through your project, through the execution of your project, right? And these two go hand in hand. Why I have just differentiated these two lanes here is there are different roles which are specific to these lanes, and sometimes you might end up in being in one of these lanes. And if you feel like okay, the other roles that are there in some other lane are interesting, you can always switch the lanes depending on your interest and career aspirations, right? So, to start off with, in the PMO lane, let's say you want to get started. So, all these roles that I'm going to talk about are the individual contributor roles. So, these are IC roles, meaning you are working as an individual. You would have a team of people who would work with you, but you will not be responsible for the appraisals or a performance evaluation of those individuals who are working with you, right? So, in this individual contributor track for a PMO lane, the first role that I can see as a starting point would be a project coordinator role. Now, the designation might differ depending on the organization. You can give any designation, but to keep it generic and simple, I have named it as project coordinator. So, as the name suggests, you are someone who's helping the teams, who's coordinating multiple activities, who's working closely with the project managers, senior project managers in their day-to-day project management activities, right? So it could be a good role for someone who wants to get started because this role will demand you to have a lot of organizing skills. You need to be good in documentation. You need to be good in preparing project artifacts, saving the project artifacts, and also distributing them. You can work as a scribe and someone who's taking the minutes of the meeting and providing the right communication channel to the right stakeholder in the project. So, project coordinators are the unsung heroes because they play a pivotal role in the project success. Because as a project manager, you are working on too many things, and you would need some kind of assistance, in your day-to-day work. So, project coordinator could be a good option for someone who wants to get started, right? And when you look at the delivery lane, when you look at someone who's getting started from a delivery side where you are delivering a product or a service, an associate PM or a junior project manager is someone who wants to start their career in delivering the deliverables through the project in this PM role, right? So, associate project manager could be the one who's handling smaller projects, but in a large volume. It can be someone who's handling mid-level complex projects and who can be assisting the senior project manager as well. Who can be a part of a big program working on some of the smaller deliverables. So this is a good role to start off with because this is giving you that client exposure. You'll be the customer-facing project manager, and you will also learn a lot from the senior project managers who are already in the delivery track lane. Now I would like to talk about the PMO. PMO is essentially, like I just talked about like I just mentioned, PMO is not only a role, it's a team, a designation, and you have multiple roles within a PMO, right? But to keep it simple, I've just termed it as a PMO. So PMO in typically comes in three structures, right? Three PMO functions are divided into three parts. So the first PMO or the first structure of the PMO is what we call as a supporting PMO. So this PMO helps in supporting the project resources, project managers, by providing them the resources by taking care of all the activities that are there as a part of creating processes, creating the documentation, all the administrative tasks. So a project coordinator could be possibly a part of a PMO if that organization has a PMO structure, or a project coordinator can be a separate entity as well. But PMO has a supporting function. Then there is another PMO, which is what we call as a directive PMO or a governance PMO. So this is the kind of PMO which will tell you what and how to do things. They are the ones who are setting the processes, and they are the ones who are also making sure that you follow the processes. Okay, so that the governance or a directive kind of a PMO, their goal is to make sure that everyone follows the processes and there is consistency in the project delivery. This is an interesting role. Most of the big four consulting companies they focus a lot on the directive or governance PMO. Then the third kind of PMO is the strategic PMO. So there are some companies who work on some of the R&D projects, or there could be some R&D product companies as well. So they have something called a strategic PMO. So strategic PMO are the ones who are testing any new product. So they are the ones who are helping the teams to pick up the MVP, a minimum viable product, and they are also sometimes responsible for driving a strategic decision at a portfolio level with if they want to begin a new product or service or want to discontinue an existing product or service. So this strategic PMO plays an important role on it. But unfortunately, very few organizations have this strategic PMO, and I can say that it's very underrated role. So the next role that we see in the delivery lane is the that of a project manager. So project manager, we can call it as a vanilla project manager because he's the one who has come with a technical experience, who has certain amount of understanding on about the product and the service, and essentially a mid-level experienced candidate is an ideal fit for this role. So a project manager will not only work on the projects, but he will have some kind of visibility on the upcoming projects that are there in the pipeline. Because if you compare this role with an associate PM role, a project manager will be the one who'll be involved from end to end usually. So he would be involved in creating an SOW, creating a basis of estimate, or sometimes he would be also involved in writing pre-sales proposals as well in some of the industries. And if you spend some more time after being a project manager, you can move into a program manager. And this is a common role across both the lanes, PMO lane as well as delivery lane. Because from a PMO or a PMO manager, you can also become a program manager. So essentially, program manager is someone who's handling multiple projects of a similar portfolio, or I can put it in a simple way. Program manager is someone who's handling multiple projects of the same kind. It can belong to a particular product or a service. The program manager works on like I mentioned, works on the programming. The differentiating factor would be these programs will be providing some kind of a value realization or a benefit realization for the organization or a team. So, as a program manager, you will have higher visibility on the big picture, and you would be responsible for handling multiple projects, right? And since it is coming in under a individual contributed track, you would be responsible in making sure that all the projects run, and you would also contribute to the manager of a PM or any functional manager in providing the feedback of their appraisals. So this is, like I can say, it is an end track for an IC role, but it can open up doors for a leadership role as well. So, moving on, after some experience, you feel that, okay, I need to get into a leadership role, or I want to get started as a people manager or someone at a managerial role, right? Not essentially a people manager, but yeah, someone at a managerial role. So, in this case, we will look at the leadership track. And one of the first roles that usually people pick up in this leadership track is the program manager or a program delivery manager. So please note, I have not mentioned anything about service delivery management or service manager here, because service and operations are two different things, and they are completely different from project. So I will stick to the program management or a program delivery manager kind of a role. So the program delivery manager is responsible for making sure that all the programs run in synergy, but also he has a visibility on the P&L, the profit and loss, and the overall. He would be responsible for the overall budget of a particular account or a particular area if they are covering, right? Maybe a region-wise program manager. If maybe if there are a region-wise program manager, let's say a program manager for APAC or Americas or EMEA, right? And they would be responsible for driving all the programs and making sure that all the work programs are running with whatever the OKRs that are defined. Now, there could be program managers, project managers, or senior project managers or program managers who would be reporting to the program delivery manager as well. So, a program delivery manager in a leadership track would be responsible for the appraisals and would be responsible for the performance tracking of all the resources under him. Now, the next role that you can look forward after this could be an account manager role. So, this is not actually a succession kind of a role from a program manager, but this could be towards the leadership track, but with more responsibilities on handling key accounts or key customers. So, this again could be at a regional basis or at a product basis. So essentially, there will be more visibility and more synergy with the sales team here, and as an account manager in project management, you'd be responsible for driving the churn, making sure that the revenue recognition happens on time, and also ensuring that you create good margins on the by delivering the projects. Now, moving on to the next set of people management roles or a leadership track roles, I want to call this role as a generic management executive role because this has a lot of designations, and again, it depends on the companies. You have AVP, VP, director, associate director, and whatnot, right? So this essentially is higher management or an exec management role, wherein you will be working closely with the C levels of the company, right? The CEOs, CXOs, and people who are coming from a project management background or a program management background, they can choose this track and eventually end up being the management executives. However, there are folks who do their programs, PG programs or MBA from IM or ISBs, and they can directly come into these kind of roles. But there are certain people who gain the experience working as a project manager, program manager, and eventually they come into this role as per the leadership track. Again, this is not limited to these roles that I just talked about. So there could be some other roles as well, depending on the organization and depending on the size of the company as well. Because let's say if you're working in a startup and in a startup ecosystem, the roles are way too different. I mean, you would have a senior director who's just a pass out from the college. So it entirely depends. You don't have again one size fits all kind of a role here, but if you look at it from a generic perspective, this is a typical leadership track that we see in most of the organizations. Right. Now, speaking of organizations, so where can you find these roles or how you can get started, right, by working into project management? So typically, we know this, right? We either choose to work in a product company or a service company. And as a project manager, if you want to get started as a product manager or sorry, not product manager, project manager, and with a delivery lane kind of a track, right? Then it is ideal or it is easy to get into the delivery lane if you are working in a product-based company. The reason is simple. The solutions or a product that you are going to sell, they would be straightforward and you would always need a customer facing role. And getting into the delivery part, especially in a product company, is easier if you're starting early. However, in service-based companies, what really happens is there are contracts, there are subcontracts, there would be some part of the work that would be done by your organization, and then there will be the other part of the work which will be done by a partner organization. So the structure of the organization is a little bit complex in a services company. So that's why in services based company, you would start as an individual contributor or someone at a technical role, and you then pick up the roles like a team lead, module lead, and then eventually you become a project manager. So that is the differentiation I want to draw here. Now, there is this another set of companies which is coming under the consulting companies. You can talk about the big four consulting companies and consulting firms like Bain and BCG. So all these companies, they are into consulting. So basically, you can get started as a PMO or a governance PMO executive or a project manager, but you also need to have some kind of technical expertise or some kind of a niche so that you can succeed or you can thrive in that particular role. So essentially, a project manager can fall into a product company, a services company, or a consulting company. Now, how you can be successful? What is the right way? So that you can choose that path and you can equip yourself with all the right skills. So, since you're starting, assuming that you're going to start as a generalist PM with a generic project management knowledge, so you spend some 2 to 3 years and in the industry in gaining all the experience of a generic PM. You can, depending on again on the organization, you can either become a technical project manager or a functional project manager. So technical project managers are usually seen in a product-based companies wherein you would be more aligned towards the technology of the project of the product which is being developed as a part of your project. And if you're working in a services organization or any product, if you're working in any product or a service which has which needs some functional expertise, right? So you can choose that as well. My suggestion for any aspiring project managers would be if you are at a generalist PM role or if you are having generic PM skills, within 5 years, you need to either go into a technical PM or a functional PM. So it's better to have the best of both the worlds. And if you have the generic PM, technical and functional combination, then you would be unstoppable. I mean, that's a lethal combination. And trust me when I say that you would definitely have a lot of value in the market, right? And so basically, you would have this question, right? That okay, how can I get it to the technical PM or a functional PM? The first thing what I can tell is whenever you're working on a project, right, try to understand the big picture. Try to understand who are eventually going to use your product or a service, or who are the users of your results, that are coming out of your project, so that you will understand the background behind why you're delivering the project. So understanding why is really important, because the how of doing things, the how part, you will definitely learn through the generalist PM skills. You would have processes inside, you would develop those communication skills, interpersonal skills, all the project management skills over a period of time. But knowing the why is really important, because once you understand the pain points, and then you implement the technology or a functional knowledge that you've already acquired, then you will be solving a problem. You will be solving that problem in a better way. Now, let's say you have this combination of generalist, technical, functional. You need to spend some more time into this. So typically, this experience can go up 10 to 15 years or 10 to 12 years at least. Because this is the time where you can grow and thrive as a project manager to a program manager or a senior program manager, or someone who's taking decisions when it comes to any technology or a or any project. So after that, you can either choose to remain in this role by getting into any kind of advisory role, or you can take up a people management or a leadership role wherein you are working either as a leadership, uh, either as a manager or someone at a leadership role, or someone at a coaching or an advisory role. So this essentially is a very high level, track of how you can navigate yourself from a generalist PM to someone at the leadership role. And this again, like I mentioned, it depends on the organization. So typical journey from a generalist PM to a leadership, on an average, depending on the Indian market and the companies which are based out of India, it takes anywhere between 12 to 15 years, in general. But there are exceptions. There are various opportunities depending on the company, depending on the situation that you are in. But if you are at somewhere, at either you could be in a generalist PM, a technical PM role, or a functional PM role. So typically, you can understand, so you can see what works for you and what is the track that you want to choose, and you can navigate your career on getting into that. Now, you may ask, okay, now we know what is the path, now we know where we are at and how we can move and what are the combination of various routes that we can take, right? Now, what are the ways in which you can get started, right? So I have divided this entire learning into four stages, right? So one being the generalist role, and two and three being a technical and a functional role, and four being a leadership role. So when you are at the first initial uh, generalist role, for what you can focus is on the interpersonal skills, your communication skills, your organization skills, and you can also take up some basic PM training and certifications. So certifications are not mandatory, but they will definitely not make you smarter, because I've seen certified project managers doing miserably in their projects. I've also seen project managers who are not certified, but they're exceptionally well in delivery, right? So certification is good, only to differentiate yourself from the crowd when you're giving an interview. So certification, if you have that certification, you will meet the eligibility criteria, but the certification doesn't guarantee you the knowledge, right? But having a basic training, basic understanding of the things that you're doing will definitely help. Now, when you're going at a project manager level and a technical or a functional level, right? So you need to understand the tools that are involved. You need to have a mastery over tools, and you need to be in a place where you can implement the knowledge. Because having knowledge, getting yourself certified, will not take you anywhere, right? Implementation of that knowledge is really essential, and having that domain knowledge and little bit of financial risk and stakeholder management are really essential, because financial risk and stakeholder management will definitely help you to take you to the next level, which is at a more functional level. So in a functional level, you need to work on complex programs and learn a little bit of team management and focus on the benefit or a value realization, because that is where you will understand the big picture of the project that you're doing. And you can gain some experience by attending some of the management programs, reading books, and getting the knowledge of a functional or a technology by getting it hands-on, by getting some hands-on experience about that. Now, the last stage, which is the leadership stage, you need to focus on the leadership, the coaching, mentoring, and advisory skills, because this will help you to become a better leader, and also a leader who's ready for the VUCA world. VUCA stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So we all are living in a VUCA world right now. For example, the pandemic has change the way in which we are doing business. The teams are remote, and now the way in which we are delivering business is also changed, right? So this change is going to exist, and it's a repetitive process. It's going to bring more changes in near future as well. So you should be in a position wherein you are aligned with the value system and the goals and the OKRs of the organization. And you should also, personally, you should also have some value systems, and it should be a marriage of your value system and your organization's value system, so that you will thrive as a good leader. Because leadership is not exactly a role or a designation, it's a mindset. And this mindset is built on the morals and the values and how you take up a challenging team and make it successful. Right. So, this is my opinion. I mean, I personally believe that a good leader should have that value system, and if he or she believes that value system is similar to that of the organization's value system, then it's the right organization. And for anyone to grow as a leader, he has to be in the system. He has to stick to an organization for a longer time. So yeah, this is something that I would look forward in my career as well. At this time, I don't consider myself being in a leadership position, or this is something that I would definitely want to build my career towards it. I think to summarize everything, right, you need to work on these four stages of learning, then have that lethal combination of project management, technical and functional role, and essentially see what kind of role suits your liking, which is the role that you want to see that, okay, this is something that where I can add more value. Then you can choose that path or a track. Now, if you typically do a Google search of how you can get into project management or how you want to get started, you will be bombarded with a lot of training and certification ads, which is obvious and you can't deny it. But my personal take on it is, don't really get into the training and certification path right away in the very beginning, because you may get certified, you may finish that training, but you may not end up liking the role as well. So first try and understand whether you're meant for this role, or whether this role suits you, right? And then you can take baby steps in learning the skills, doing a shadow project. I hope this video has added some value to you. And I hope this video helps someone who is at a crossroads where he's not able to take any decision. And I'm sure a lot of people would have these questions. Even I had some of these questions. So if you've liked the video, please hit the like button. Please share with your friends. Use this video for your assessment. Use this video to take your decisions. And also please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And please hit the bell icon to get notified immediately whenever I upload a new video. So that being said, thank you guys. Thanks for your time today. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care. Stay safe.